Hello viewers, welcome to Success Educational Consult. I am your mathematics facilitator by name Mr. Prosper Techi, also known as Prosper. I want us to discuss BECE 2025. Once the results have been released, I think it is only fair for us to have a discussion. We are starting with question number 1, which is on the board. Question 1A reads, given that set P multiples of 3 and set Q positive even numbers are subsets, underlying word is subsets of the universal set x such that 1 less than x less than or equal to 20, where x is a counting number, also underlined. So when you hear counting number, what you need to know is that counting number starts from 1. So if our universal set starts or our universal set has x such that 1 less than x less than or equal to 20, what this one means is that 1 is not part of the set because we have this inequality sign which says less than. Now over here to record this set builder notation, it is one way of representing sets. Now where x is a counting number, the first thing to do before that, let's read the question. I list the elements in P intersection Q. I list all the subsets in P intersection Q. Let's start. Before we list the elements in P intersection Q, we need the sets. We need to list the members of the sets first. The first one, our solution here. First one, we need the universal set because that is where all the other sets will be born from, or that's where all the other sets will come from. So we need to list our universal set from 2 all the way to 20. We don't leave any number. You have to list everything because the marking scheme needs it. So 2, 3, 4. Now we are starting with 2 and ending at 20 because of the inequality signs. This means 1 shouldn't be part. Less than or equal to means 20 should be our last counting number. Now let's move on. Set P represents multiples of 3. You can't just start writing. You need to consider the multiples of 3 that are present in the universal set. So let's list them. We have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. So these are the multiples of 3 that are present in the universal set. Set Q, also positive even numbers. What this one means is that we have negative even numbers. So you need to take note of that. Positive even numbers that are also present in the universal set. So we start from 2, 4, 6. We know our even numbers already. Once we are through with listing of the elements of both sets, that's set P and set Q, which are subsets of the universal set, we can now answer our questions in peace. I says we need to list the elements in P intersection Q. Intersection simply means common elements that are common to both sets, elements that can be found in P and also can be found in Q at the same time. So let's see these elements. So P intersection Q is equal to, we have 6 followed by 12 followed by 18. So these are the common elements in set P and Q. And let's move on to II. II says that we need to list all the subsets in P intersection Q. When we say subsets, just as we have in the question which says P set P and set Q are subsets of the universal set. So we are listing all the subsets of this set or in this set, which means we have to consider the set first, and then we find out all the subsets over here. So what we do is that we need to use the power set approach, which says 2 exponents n, where n represents the number of elements in P intersection Q. So we have 3 elements in P intersection Q, which is 6, 12, and 8. This one gives us 2 exponent 3. And we know 2 exponent 3 simply means 2 times 2 times another 2, giving us 8. This is not your final answer. We are using this one as a yardstick to list all the subsets in this set. Now, there are 2 facts about listing subsets. 1, the empty set is a subset of every set. That's what you need to know. The empty set is a subset of every set. And 2, the set itself is also a subset of itself. The set, this one, is also a subset of itself. So amongst the 8 subsets you're going to list, you have 2 already. So it is the 6th that you're going to think about, and then you start writing. Now, to be on the safer side, you need to start from the empty set. Then you go to the single sets, the single elements in the set. So starting from here, we have our empty set. Then we go to the single sets, which is 6, 12, 18. These are our single sets, our single subsets. Then we go to our double subsets, the double ones. So we're going to have 6 and 12, followed by 6 and 18, followed by 12 and 18. Now realize that we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We are supposed to have 8. So the last one is the set itself, which is 6, 12, and 18. After this, we are done. Your full mark will be given to you. The question was about listing all the subsets. So if you don't want to find how many subsets are there, there is no penalization. Nobody is going to penalize you for that. This is what we are interested in. But then to be very sure of what you are doing, that is why I've done this one, so that you know you are listing 8 subsets, including the empty set and the set itself. That is question 1A. We move to question 1B. Question 1B is change of subject. Change of subject. We have an equation which says if 1 over y is equal to 3k minus 2 over x, I make y the subject of the relation. Make y the subject of I using the result in BI, the value of y when x is equal to -1 and k is equal to 2. Let's start this. Whenever we have fractions in an equation and we are making something the subject, first thing to do is to identify how many terms are in this equation. Now, a term or terms are separated with addition sign or subtraction sign, or even the equal sign. So we have our first term here, second term here, and our third term over here. Now, secondly, we need to find the LCM of the denominators. The denominators are two different variables. So the LCM of the denominators, which is also known as LCD, least common denominator. So our LCM of the denominators is what? X times y, which is xy. And what are we supposed to do? We are to multiply through by the what? The LCM of the denominator or the denominators. So multiplying through simply means that the LCM here has to be repeated based on the number of terms we have over here. So we have three terms. It means our first step here, we're going to have x, y multiplying 1 over y equal to xy multiplying 3k minus xy multiplying 2 over x. Now, if you're able to do this, you are not done. You need to show us how you are doing your cancellation. It's very important. Or how you are doing your division. So here, y divides itself once, it divides y also 1. So you're going to have x multiplying 1, giving us x equal to xy times 3k will give us 3kxy. You can write it in any other, the variables. It can be 3xky or any. The arrangement of the variable doesn't really matter. Minus x divides itself once, x divides here once. Y times 2 gives us 2y. Now we multiply through by the LCM of the denominators just so we can have a linear equation, an equation in the form of a line. After this, what do? We are making y the subject, so we call it the new subject. And whenever we are talking about change of subjects, the new subject always has to be isolated. So the term that has the new subject, if the terms are 2, 3 or more, you make sure they are all at one side of the equal sign, either the left hand side or the right hand side, because it's an equation, and in an equation whatever happens on the right hand side is equal to whatever is on the left hand side. So let's continue. Realize that the new subject, the terms that have the new subject or the terms that have the new subject have already been grouped. So what happens? Because we are making y the subject, we factorize y from here because y is common. So we have x to be equal to y, which has been factored. And when y is factored, it simply means that we are dividing the whole of this term 3kxy by y. And realize that y will divide the y here, leaving 3kx minus 2y divided by y. We'll be left with what? 2. So this is what you're having. Now you want y to stand alone. You want y to be isolated. So what happens? Y has a coefficient. The coefficient of y is the expression 3kx minus 2. What it means is that we need to divide both sides of the equation by the coefficient of y, which is our new subject. So this is what you're going to have. X over 3kx minus 2 equal to y multiplying 3kx minus 2 all over 3kx minus 2. So this expression here divides this expression, leaving y alone. So our y is equal to x over 3kx minus 2. This is y being the new subject. So we have our new subject, which is y. We are done. Now I wrote the y here because it's an equation. I could have also maintained the y on the right hand side. It will still be the same because in an equation, whatever is on the left hand side is the same as whatever is on the right hand side. Take note of that. Now let's move on to the second part of question 1b, which says using the result in BI. That's what we have here. This is the result we have. Find the value of y when x is equal to -1 and k is equal to 2. So here we are doing what is called substitution. That is why the topic is substitution and change of subjects. So we have to substitute the values of the variables which have been given, and they are known as variables because their values vary. The value of x today is not the same as the value of x tomorrow. So that's why they are called variables. They vary. All right. So doing our substitution, y is now equal to x is -1. So wherever you see x, you put -1 there, over 3 multiplying k, which is 2. So 2 times -1, that is 4kx. So 3kx will give us this minus 2. Following, we have -1 all over. 3 is multiplying the expression in this bracket. But then take your time. 2 times -1 is -2 minus 2. Don't rush. If you want all your marks, you shouldn't rush. You shouldn't skip steps. Now you're going to have -1 over 3 times -2 gives us -6 minus 2. Then we come down to have -1 over -8. -6 minus 2 gives us -8. A scenario here, you are owing someone 6 Ghana cedis. You go and borrow another 2 Ghana cedis. Together, you are owing 8. Now, this can't be our final answer. Our final answer is going to be 1 over 8. Why? Because both the numerator and the denominator are all negative numbers. So this negative divides this negative, leaving 1 over 8. And that is the end of our discussion. This is just the beginning. Watch out for question 2 in our next video, and also more videos on this channel. Make sure you subscribe, you share, and then you like. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.